Hey everybody, it is Kary Oberbrunner. Great to be with you guys here tonight. I have a very special guest with me, Mr. Jim Akers. How you doing, Jim?
I'm great, Kary. Great to be with you.
Awesome. Jim, in a moment we're going to hear a little bit about where you're from and that type of thing. We have people already jumping in. This is a special interview. If you guys are like, what's going on? How did I find this thing? Let me tell you a little bit about this. So we are currently in what's called a 6-figure author 5-day challenge. And so far I've been having some amazing guests. So a while ago, whatever, they were not in their dream spot, or maybe they had an idea for a book, but it just was not something that had existed. And so they were literally, they had a dream, but they were on something like a webinar perhaps, or this type of thing. And they heard a little bit about the model. So Jim's going to be sharing tonight. Here's what I want to do though. A lot of people are saying where they're from. Darlene's from North Carolina. We have Rebecca from Colorado. We have Cinderella. I love that name. That's fantastic. You already have friends, Jim. Do you know Rich and Patty Green? I don't know.
I sure do.
Okay, fantastic. Well, they're here too. Jim, I'm going to go share this feed on my personal Facebook timeline because I know what you're going to share tonight is fantastic. I have some interview questions, and you're going to kind of pull back the curtain and talk about how this idea turned into reality, and now you're kind of doing your dream full time. And I don't know if you're retired, but you're
redeployed. Redeployed.
There you go. You're reemployed. So that might even fit some of the demographic tonight. Maybe some people are thinking, well, gee, I'm retired, and maybe I got some life left in me. And you're actually young. You're very young compared to our oldest author, who's 84. So you're the young gun compared to her. But why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? And then, folks, I want to ask you to share this right now because Erica is going to give a gift at the end for all those who share the feed. So after you do share, type in the word shared so we can make sure to get you that. So, Jim, the floor is yours. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Hold up your book, and I'm going to go share this feed on my wall.
Great. Thanks, Kary. It's really pretty simple. I spent almost 25 years in senior management for a Fortune 25 company. And it led me through a variety of responsibilities with people and leadership. And ultimately, changes occurred that allowed me to exit the organization and pursue this dream full time, a dream that's probably been placed on my heart for a long time. And that led me to meeting you. And ultimately the making of Tape Breakers and the writing of Tape Breakers. And that was released last March. And the essence of that is it's opened up just a ton of doors for speaking, for coaching, for additional writing. And it's been a journey that has allowed me just to meet a lot of people and have a positive impact on more people than I ever thought that I would.
Wow, fantastic. Yeah, I mean, you're one of these people who, again, I teach a system, I teach a model, and then when people actually follow it, it's pretty cool. So you're one of these people who followed it to a T. Let's even talk about your launch team, because some people don't know what that is. Some people just publish a book and then they kind of throw it out there for the world. But I teach a launch team strategy and a launch team event. Talk a little bit about that, because you did something that very few people have ever done. Even traditionally published authors, you got in the top 100 of all of Amazon, like all of Amazon on your launch day. And that's something that usually just Tim Ferriss and Oprah do. So how did you do that, and talk a little bit about the system?
Well, I think the system leading in, Kary, is that I've always believed that coaches could take you to places you couldn't go on your own. And I always had an idea that I'd write a book. I always had the content. The content had been developed over a great number of years. And when I met you, I knew you were the coach that was going to take me to places I couldn't go on my own. I even came out of the printing, paper, and publishing business. So it's not that I didn't know how to get published or didn't know what publishers do, but you peeled back this onion for me in a way that allowed me to systematically follow a process, execute it, and achieve a great deal of success, which I couldn't have done on my own. I would have messed around for a long time. So that was a big thing. So, leading into the launch, it was a significant opportunity to include a lot of people, friends, family, other authors who wanted to learn more and see on the inside of what you were teaching. Mm-hmm. And I ended up with almost 500 people on my launch team.
That's
set
great.
Up a private Facebook group. Yeah, and challenged them with a variety of questions over the course of about 30 days. And so when we got to launch time, the pump was primed, and the launch allowed us to rise up in the Amazon rankings to places I never thought we would get, but we did get in the top 100 of all the labels, of all the titles on Amazon.
That's fantastic. I love it. Well, and beyond that, Jim, give us, you kind of told us a little bit about your career, your background, which is fantastic. I did list a few questions because I can totally go off script, and I will, but I do want to get to the actual questions. When did you first have an idea to publish a book? I mean, how old were you? When did this come into your awareness?
Well, I think that this is the third book that I had published.
Wow.
But this was the first one that I really took all the way from not only a print perspective, but a distribution perspective. So early background for me was in sales and sales leadership. So I wrote a book on sales. And then it was relatively easy to produce an electronic book. So I did that, but it still didn't fulfill the fact that I had, a calling card, this book to hand somebody. And what was amazing too, and you realize this because you've done it and you teach it, is the fact that when you've got that book, it almost lifts your expertise. I may have had 30 years of expertise in leadership, in people development, and coaching, but the book validated the fact that I knew what I was talking about, which I found just fascinating. But it's true. If you've got a concept, if you've got an idea, if you have an expertise, you put it in a book, it changes the platform that you're operating from.
I love it. And folks, we're going to get to some Q&A. So if you have a question for Jim, go ahead and type it in the notes as well. But Jim, I meet a lot of people who I believe have 10, 20, 30, 40 years of expertise, but they feel like, well, everybody knows that, or what makes me so special, or who am I called to, who am I to put that in a book form? And talk to the person who is like that, who says, you know what, I do have 20 years or 30 years of experience in subject X, Y, or Z, but they kind of doubt the fact that people would read it. You did that. Talk about what your book's about.
My book, the subtitle is Maximize Your Impact with People You Love, Teams You Lead, and Causes That Stir Your Heart. So what drove me was I believe that within every of us, we're uniquely positioned in the world in a time and place to have impact that no one can replace us. And as a result, if you don't do it, there's all sorts of people that you're going to meet that need what you can pour into them, and you just punt it. You just say, hey, guess what? I'm not going to do that. And I think that is a real, just a real miss. Think about taking yourself to the edge of your comfort zone, so to speak, putting it out there and allowing you to reach and touch people never on your own, probably in the sense of thinking that it's all one-to-one. It's a leverage tool. By putting it in a book, you're able to multiply your message, leverage it without having to physically be present to deliver it. And that's the power of the book. That's the power of the resources that you have with a launch team, all the things. You can go and make contact one-on-one with as many people as you can, but it's a multiplier, a huge multiplier that I never really understood until I did it.
Yeah, I mean, isn't it crazy, Jim, when you get an email from somebody who says, hey, Jim, we never met, or maybe this is a review that you see, where, Jim, you don't know me, but I read your book and it changed my life. I mean, imagine getting that, Jim. Talk to the person who's never gotten one of those. How does that feel? And I know you speak tons related to your book. We're going to get into your income streams in a moment. But I call that passive impact, where you never physically met somebody and yet they read your book and it changed their life. Talk a little bit about that phenomenon.
Wow, Kary, that's a great question. And it's fascinating to me, emails I've received and even phone calls. Interesting one that I had was a year ago. I was speaking, I was on my way back in California where I live, and I had a connection through Atlanta and boarded the plane, and the guy sitting next to me is conversation. And ultimately, at the end of the conversation, my book, and I said, well, this is what I was talking about. This a few months ago, and I come to find out that he's the vice president of manufacturing, and he calls me and he hires me to come and speak to his team about values and impact, simply by having a conversation with somebody and handing him a book. And now they've become a client that is going to continue to produce income for me by just pouring into somebody. Here's a book. I think you'll enjoy this. And not only did they enjoy it, they ended up hiring me. So that was.
I love it. So it's like a seed. It's like, hey, Jim, I'll tell you what, man, it could be me, but I'm going to ask the crowd, am I coming through clear, everybody, without a hitch? And then is Jim coming through clear? Go ahead and do that, Jim. If you can pop out and pop back in, that would be fantastic, and we'll give that a shot. So while Jim's doing that, I'm going to ask him about the voice is cutting out. Julie says that. So go ahead, Jim, come back in. That would be awesome if you can do that. Donna says amazing. So a lot of people are saying just Jim. So Jim, go ahead, come back in, and then pop back in. That's great. Fantastic. Awesome. So folks, while Jim's coming back in, let me just say this, that there's a lot of different income streams that you can do from your book. Jim's going to talk about a few of these. You can do coaching, consulting. You can do masterminds. All of this is what I'm going to teach tomorrow on the webinar. Tomorrow's very different. Tomorrow is not me as a talking head. You're going to see a master level presentation. And I'm going to give you guys a ton of information. In fact, after you see this, you will know more than 95% of the publishing industry experts. That's how much you're going to know, which is fantastic. So Jim's going to come back in, and we'll see. Hey, Jim, how you doing?
I hope this is better.
We'll see if it's better. Yeah, I don't know, but we'll give it a shot. So talk a little bit, Jim, about the different income streams. What income streams have you been able to do from your book? Training, speaking, consulting. I mean, just go into a few of those, and I'll give you a thumbs up if the audio is good. I'll give you a thumbs down if it's bad, but we'll see.
Okay, well, let's hope that we have something that's good here. Multiple things. The first thing that I focused on was speaking opportunities, and I speak both in corporate environments and in faith community environments. And the book opened up some of those doors. I had people say, hey, do you have a book? And as a result of having a book, they were interested in hiring me to speak. So in the last year, I've done corporate speaking, largely on topics in my book. They are leadership oriented, but accountability, achievement, coaching, those types of topics. And then executive coaching, which has been a ton of fun for me because it was probably the thing in my corporate environment. And so I have a variety of corporate coaching clients. And then it was interesting, and you tipped me off on this, Kary, which was fascinating, is that you don't necessarily need to be able to do a webinar or any of these types of things to deliver your message. Was a speaker company, all via they were in a book. I provided them handout through. Never.
Hang on a second.
And I was.
It's getting choppy again, man. So what I caught was that you don't need to do webinars, which we're doing now, but you can do this with corporate training and speaking and handouts, these types of things. Jim, let's go into a little bit more, and I want to make sure that people catch as much as they can catch, and then if I need to do some Q&A live tonight, that's no problem as well. But talk to us about one unexpected opportunity that happened from becoming an author and then a six-figure author. What's one unexpected opportunity that's come?
Well, I think it starts with something you say, you know, show up, filled up, and pour into people. Mm-hmm. So I did not turn down, so to speak, he didn't even necessarily pay me. So I had somebody that poured everything into them, helped them make a job change, helped them elevate themselves in some arenas that they couldn't before. And what that turned into was an introduction that probably is going to be my most lucrative income stream over the next 12 months. I got introduced to the leadership of the PGA of America. And wow. 2 weeks ago, I spoke to the leadership of the PGA of America. And I'm a golfer anyway. But it was very unexpected. So if I wouldn't have poured into this particular individual, helped them, saw that they had a good heart, they were listening, they were teachable, what I poured into them, they had become one of my greatest advocates and have opened doors for me that I would have never had before had I not chosen to take advantage of the opportunity to contribute to them.
I love it. I love it. So folks, if you didn't catch that, the PGA, as in like Professional Golf Association. Wow, that's pretty big stuff. Tanisha says, passive impact. I read Jim's book, and it is filled with wisdom, and it teaches you how to make an impact in your sphere of influence. Awesome. Coaching, consulting, masterminds, these are all streams of income. So, Jim, I want to make sure you get your URL so that everybody can Google you and read your bio, even if they didn't catch all the few words there. But where can people find you? And then literally hold that book up mid-camera, because I want everybody to see that again. So take break.
Book. There's the book.
Love it.
Hide behind it. And my website is Jim D, as in Douglas, Akers, Akers, at .com. That's it. Yep.
JimDAkers.com. Fantastic website. You, I'll be honest, Jim. Can I have a little confession here? When you turned in your application, I did a little bit of research on you. And again, I'm a pretty confident guy, but I read your resume, your pedigree, and I'm like, whoa, this dude's applying for our program. And I get like that sometimes because we have people who like are just starting out, and that's cool. Seriously, we treat everybody as equals. And then we get some people who are just whatever, the top of their industry in whatever field they're in. And we have chiropractors like that who've come to us. We have a YouTube star, Amy Schmidauer, who's come to us, who Tony Robbins just called the other day, right? So we have some pretty big people coming to us. But I read yours, and I'm like, whoa, this guy, went to what? Pepperdine? Right? Is it
an MBA?
MBA.
A few things.
Yeah, and you were in charge of like $500 million in sales. I mean, pretty big stuff. So I was just glad that you nailed it, you crushed it, you got #1 bestseller, and in several different lists and categories. And it was just really cool to see you launch. Jim, I'm going to give you just about 30 seconds because I would talk to you all night, but we're not getting a super clear signal. But what would you tell someone who tomorrow is going to show up on the webinar where I list the entire model? I'm going to share the entire model that helped Mary and Melissa and Linda and Derek and you all become six-figure authors, what would you tell someone in preparation as they go to bed tonight and then wake up tomorrow and see that webinar? What would you say?
Well, I hope this comes through, Kary. I think the thing that to progress is ask yourself, how teachable do I have? You know, you can talk about my pedigree, but I think just in things that I was doing was opening myself up to be coached. You know, I don't care how much I know. There's always more to learn. And out of the basic industry, but what you pour into people is sometimes people need to know the nitty gritty. You know, give me the steps 1, 2, 3, 4. The website, all those things are so powerful. Is come with an open mind to say, what don't I know, versus asking yourself, I already know a lot. No matter how much you know, I think it comes back to, and you're going to pour into them. That webinar caught me, but you think you have a book in you, and you ask, I don't care where I came from background wise, is the thing that moved me was the fact that you are the real deal. Heart of gold. You want people to be successful. You pour into people and give more than you in cash value. I would have paid more for what I got out of this. But you want people to be successful. So you've got to come with an open-minded book in you. Stop hunting on. Stop looking for other coaches. Stop thinking, hey, guess what? Maybe there's one more tip, or I'm going to go these 5 websites and everybody that's advertising. You are the real deal. If you want to produce a book and you want to produce a great manuscript that looks great, flat out it. And then the Igniting Souls Conference, everything else that you do, I just feel blessed by everything that I've gotten out of it, including our friendship. So I thank you for that.
Awesome. Well, Jim, thank you so much. You know, I think you said enough that people catch what you're about. A lot of people are going to your website and they're saying it's amazing. Tanisha just said that, and Don and a bunch of others. So what Jim said is tomorrow be teachable and be open-minded. So Jim, I just want to give you a big shout out and thank you for doing this. And again, the technology, we apologize, whatever, who knows what it is, but it's all good, as I say often.
We were good at sound check, and now something's up there, so.
It's all good, man. Well, you take care. I'm going to stay on and answer a few questions as well, but let's give a big shout out to Jim. Thank you so much, and take care, man.
Thanks, Kary. See ya.
All right, we'll see you. Fantastic. Awesome. So, folks, that was Jim Akers, really good guy. Linda is fantastic as well. Linda Outkid, go to her website, lindaoutkid.com, another one of our six-figure authors from South Dakota. A little bit of audio problems as well. But listen, folks, it is just about you tonight. So I'm going to spend the next 10 minutes pure value. I don't care what your question is, ask it, okay? Even if you think this is a crazy question, anything about writing, publishing, marketing, agents, traditional publishing, self-publishing, launches, bestseller lists. Who's got a question? How to build your tribe? I'm going to give some value to you guys tonight. And then please get your free gift tonight. So Erica, if you can share the free gift, it's a free ebook that we wrote. It's how to turn a book into 18 streams of income. And tomorrow's webinar, please hear this. Tomorrow's webinar, I'm going to give you the model. I'm going to say exactly what the model's about. I'm going to show you what people don't tell you about traditional publishing. They're not evil, okay? But there's a lot of myths that people just don't know, and they make decisions based on partial information. I'm going to talk all about self-publishing, and I'm going to blow your mind about what's really the self-publishing world. And again, they're not bad, they're not evil, but both of these options do not give you the full control and profits that I believe you're entitled to as an author. It's your book. So just like Jim and Linda and Mary and Melissa and Derek and all of my six-figure authors, they get all the benefits. So they get all the profits, all the royalty, all the control, and they're able to launch it well. And that's what I'm going to share tomorrow. And then at the very end, there's nothing you can buy. This is not one of those webinars where you jump on and, bring out your credit card, and at the end, I'm going to give you a link and you put it in your shopping cart. No. At the end, if you absolutely love our model, great. If you hate it, that's fine too. But I think a lot of you are going to say, wow, this is pretty cool. And if you're interested, then we will be picking the next authors that I will work with. Just like I've worked with a few of the people that you've met the last few days. If you want to watch their full interviews, there's no secrets here. Go to Six Figure Author 5-Day Challenge on Facebook. And I think we just crossed the 3,500 mark. We just started this 7 days ago. And we just crossed 3,500 people that are in the 5-day challenge. There's crazy life change happening. It's so exciting. And then we just bought the maximum amount of webinar seats that we could buy on GoToWebinar. So we are going to hit the 10,000 seat limit, which once you go past that, you have to go into this whole video cast thing that we couldn't do because we already started the webinar signups, but we are at 10,000. And once we hit that, we're locked out. So we have a few more seats before we get there. So jump in that free webinar tomorrow as well. But I'm going to answer your questions here. So I'm going. My heart is smiling with gratitude. Kary is the real deal. Well, thank you very much. Don says, thank you, Jim, for your wisdom. I'm going to go down to we got 1 billion Jim thanks. And you started to talk about Jim's launch success. What did he do? Very good, Denise. What Jim did is what I teach. He created a digital press kit. Digital press kit allows you to be interviewed by media. Media does not care if you wrote a book. I'm just being real. Again, I'm your author coach. I'm being real, okay? Just because you wrote a book, if you live in a small town, they might write a story on you. They might. But what you need to do is a couple things. Number one, you need to create a digital press kit. And this is what I teach you to do, one of the many steps in Author Academy Elite. But a digital press kit allows you to be interviewable. Why? Because when people find out about your book or when you pitch media, they don't want to read your book. They're very busy people. They are covering multiple stories. And if you say, hey guys, I wrote a book, can you go read it? And then spend 5 hours reading it and then write a 1 hour sample questions and then go find my bio and then go find my headshot, you're crazy. No media channel is going to do that for you. Instead, what you do is you create a digital press kit. And the digital press kit has everything that the media needs. In fact, my digital press kit says, Kary's digital press kit for, what does it say? It says something like, for those who haven't read Kary's book but want to sound like they have, or something like that. And as you read that digital press kit, it basically gives you the purpose. It gives you sample questions. It gives you media statistics, okay? So for example, with Day Job to Dream Job, they didn't have to go out and research how many people are dissatisfied with their day job. No, it's got it right there. So these are media sound bites so that media can say, next up, Jim Akers. Are you one of the 86% of people in America that is dissatisfied with your day job and ready to throw in the towel? Jim will give you 5 tips on how to go from day job to dream job. Again, this is my book, but you get the point. And then in that digital press kit, it's got your headshot, it's got your bio, it's got sample questions, it's got research, all in one place. That's a link. Media does not want attachments. If you send an attachment to a newsroom or a radio station, they will not open it. They are instructed not to open it because of viruses. So again, these are rookie mistakes that people make, and they just don't know this stuff. And as a result, they never get interviewed. okay? Another thing Jim did that we teach is a launch team strategy. Jim had 500 people in his launch team. We teach you exactly how to do this. These are people who become your militia. They become your boots on the ground. These are people that you arm with daily missions during launch week. And you think I'm joking, I'm not joking, okay? And there's ways that you can stimulate and spur them on with all kinds of things, all kinds of motivation. Sometimes they champion your cause, like Jim about impact, or Linda. I got to hold up Linda's book. We're unable to have Linda on tonight because of technology as well. But Linda wrote Pebbles in My Shoe. She's a fantastic lady. Go look her up, lindaoutka.com. And we published her book, Author Academy Elite. But Linda is like a master coach. Linda all the time goes into places and speaks, sometimes for pay, sometimes for free. And then what Linda does is she offers a complimentary coaching session. But it's not just for everybody. Like, in other words, if she's in a room of 100 people, she can't take on 100 complimentary coaching sessions. She has an application. And again, this is all stuff that we teach in our program. So she's on stage, she's speaking about her book, and there's a strategy for doing this. In fact, Linda and I talked about this before she did it, and it worked so good. She tells people ahead of time what's coming so that they're not, thinking, okay, what's the pitch? She tells people, I'm going to speak today on this topic, and obviously I can't cover a full book in my session today. So if you like what you hear at the very end, I'm going to share a way that you can take another step if this content is helping you. And she's all about conflict resolution with churches, with corporations, with all kinds of entities. And so what Linda does is she speaks a wonderful talk. She always wears red, by the way. I don't know why. It's cool. I love red, all right? But here's the point. She speaks, and then she actually has a handout. See, you don't say, hey, come talk to me afterwards if you're interested in a complimentary coaching session. No. Everything is psychology. This is creating an irresistible offer. And we teach this stuff. Nobody teaches this stuff, folks. I mean, if you go to any publisher, they don't care about this stuff. They care about printing your book, and that's it. In fact, they'll tell you everything but distribution is on us, all right? I mean, nothing but distribution is on us. They'll say, you got to do the marketing, you got to do the selling, you got to do the pitching, you got to go speak, you got to go do social media, you got to do all this stuff, and we'll keep 85% of your profits. Something's wrong with that model. Again, I'm not against traditional publishing for the less than 1% for specific reasons, but I'm just saying that traditional publishers, I've been traditionally published 6 times before I published Author Academy Elite book, Elixir Project, right? Again, Author Academy Elite, we're big into this stuff, all right? There you go. But here's the point. It's a fantastic book. I mean, it looks like just like any other book. And here's the cool thing, right? See that? It's all about the barcode. I don't know if you guys can see that. But most people don't know that. Most people just publish on CreateSpace, and then they say, well, why isn't Barnes & Noble carrying my book, the bookstore? Why can't I get in my books into Books A Million? Why can't I get my books into, Lifeway or all these other brick and mortar bookstores? If you publish with CreateSpace alone, you will never be in brick and mortar bookstores because your books cannot be returned. And brick and mortar bookstores do not take that risk. And that's an intentional move by CreateSpace. They're not bad. They're not evil people. They've done tremendous things. But I'm just saying that they're smart. And they're saying we will only be the stream of sales through Amazon.com. Why? Because we make the most money off you, right? And so they don't want to give your book to brick and mortar bookstores, right? Again, this is stuff that most people don't know. I'm going to go into big detail tomorrow on all this stuff. How do you decide how much to charge for a one-day event? Great question. Lisa's one of my authors. Great book. Fantastic. And I would have you hold up your book, Lisa. Lisa's a former Miss Ohio, and she won Mrs. International I hope I'm saying that correct, Lisa. But Lisa Moser, M-O-S-E-R. But she's crushing it, and her book's fantastic. How do you know how much to charge for a one-day event? Here's what you do, Lisa. You create a one sheet. Every single event that I create, if you want to cheat, if you want to find out how I do it, go to ignitingsoulsconference.com. You will see on ignitingsoulsconference.com my event that we've created, right? It's 98% sold out, and we're still 60 days away or more. But we've packed out the place. And I start with every event saying who, what, when, where, why, and how. That is so important, folks. That is what you need to do with a event. Who, what, when, where, why, and how. It's called a one sheet. And then what you do, Lisa, is you don't worry about charging people until you get clarity. Remember, clarity attracts, confusion repels. And by the way, Lisa, your book just came to me. I believe it's called Misconception, M-I-S-S, Conception. And it's about the crowning moments, all right? I care about each one of my authors. It just takes me a little while to remember it, right? Because we got 300 authors who are crushing it, who are making amazing things happen. But the point is this, Lisa, you don't know what to charge until you create the value. In other words, if you say, well, I don't know, I'm just going to get women together and we're going to talk about self-image. That's really important, but you haven't talked about what the value is from the conference. Go to Igniting Souls Conference. You can see exactly what I say. You're going to learn a 3-step strategy to see the fire, or actually feel the fire, see the fire, be the fire. And the whole tagline is set fire to your business and brand. And every session, Lisa, has a deliverable. So when Mike Kim speaks, you're going to learn how to write sales copy that catches on like wildfire. When Amy Schmidauer speaks, you're going to learn how to vlog like a boss. When David speaks, you're going to learn how to create an irresistible offer. When Dexter speaks, you're going to learn how to motivate your audience to action. Folks, I don't have a teleprompter. That's all from memory. Why? Because that's how deep I know my content, my speakers, the value. I internalize everything I create. Why? Because that sounds convincing. Because you are convinced. When you kind of say, hey, everybody, I'm thinking about having an event. When's the date? TBD. No, you never create an event to be determined. You never create a location to be determined. That breeds confusion. Clarity attracts, confusion repels. When you announce that thing, Lisa, you want to come out of it with ultra clarity. And again, a one sheet helps with that, but now you can decide what to charge people. Another thing you can ask is your event a standalone event, or is it a event that leads into a program? I always started in the very beginning. Here's a big mistake I made in the beginning. In the beginning, with my career, I kept my day job because I didn't know what I was doing, right? Sure, I had traditional publishers. Sure, I was in Barnes & Noble, but I didn't understand what I'm going to teach tomorrow on the webinar. Erica, please share the webinar link again. Live webinar. This is not recorded. This is legit. This is 10,000 people. This is we're rocking and rolling, and then we're going to pick our next authors to work with. So if that's you, jump on there and listen, and maybe it's you. But here's the point. I didn't know what I was doing in the beginning. I would have an event, and then I'd say, hey, guys, thanks for coming, everybody. Have a good life. No, listen, anytime you have an event, you have the next step. Because some people are saying, oh, my gosh, Lisa, this is amazing. Like, you're speaking my language. I want more. And if you're like, well, hey, see ya. I mean, that's on you. That's your flaw. So what I do is I actually create what's called a buyer's journey. Just like iTunes leads to iPod, which leads to iPad, which leads to iPhone, which leads to iMac, right? Or whatever. You throw iBooks in there as well. I mean, Apple is no dummy. They have what's called an integrated product suite. Now, you don't know all that in the beginning, Lisa, or anybody else. You create one event, but then while you're creating that event, you say, what's the deliverable that we're going to offer? Then you can charge for that. If you're going to help people come up with 7 strategies to connect with their spouse and have more meaningful conversations, which leads to healthier communication and I'm just getting crazy tonight, you know, better intimacy in your marriage, whatever. That's worth something. You know, people now say, oh, I'm going to get that. Well, that's actually worth a couple $100 rather than come to my event. We're all going to chat. There's going to be speakers. There's going to be food. No one's walking around in life saying, you know what? I just wish I had better food at a conference, right? I just wish that I could sit at a table with a conference speaker. I mean, that is a need. No, that's not a need. That's a vehicle. A conference or an event is a vehicle that's supposed to lead you to transformation. And if you don't know what the transformation is on the other end, no wonder why people struggle with sales. Okay? So now, we teach the way to broadcast this. I saw you do something well, Lisa. I got to compliment you. Okay? I follow all my authors. I watch all my authors. I really do because I care about them. And Lisa, you did something well the other day, which was if you came to a women's event, what would you like to hear? What would you like to learn? Now, that's a strategy. I'm not saying it's a bad strategy. I don't do that strategy. Okay, so I'm just telling you, I don't do that strategy. That's not exactly like a guy named Ryan Levesque who came up with the ask concept, but I don't like that concept personally. Now, I'm not against Ryan or anything like that. He does tremendous work. But all I'm saying is I don't want to come off to my tribe like I don't know what I'm talking about. You know, please tell me because I don't know what product to create for you. That's not my style. That's some people's style. That's cool. It works for a lot of people. And seriously, Lisa, I'm glad you did that because it created a conversation. And some people actually wrote in and said, hey, I would like a conference on this and this and this. And some people then go and build that conference. I don't ask people, you know, hey guys, I'm thinking about writing a fiction book. What would you like me to write a fiction book on? But I know some people who do that strategy. I don't like that strategy. I want people to realize, you know what? Kary doesn't have all the answers, but Kary has a path. Leadership means you know where you're going. And when you come off all the time, like with your tribe, like, what do you guys think? Where should we go? I just feel personally that I don't like to follow those people. I don't like to follow a leader who always says, I don't know, what do you guys think? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? To me, I know that they're just trying to sell me. I mean, I'm just being real. What I like instead is I like a leader who's like, we're going this way, and here's what we're going to, I want you to come, but we're going anyway. To me, I like that type of leadership where somebody's going to take me somewhere because that means that they're leading. They're not sitting around trying to herd cats, okay? Again, maybe I offended some people with that. I don't know. My main interest is to create workbooks with my work. My main interest is to create workbooks to go with my book. Do I help? Maybe is this your question? Does it help the journey for the reader? Is that something you teach us on the magical webinar? I love your name, Cinderella, by the way. Look, do not sell your workbook on Amazon. Okay. Do not sell your workbook on Amazon. Do you know why? You write a book for 15 to 30 bucks, depending on if it's hardcover or softcover. If you create a workbook, you're in a low income game. Let me explain why. If I created Elixir Project and then I wrote Elixir Project guidebook, which I did, Elixir Project guidebook, let me just give you guys an example. Hold on, I'm going to give you an example, a real example here. I have my pajama pants on. You might see my pajama pants. It's all good. You got to be real. You got to be real. If you like my pajama pants, say, hey, all right? But here's the point. Here's Dream Job Boot Camp, okay? This is Dream Job Boot Camp. This is 300 pages long, okay? This thing sells with videos and with a course for $300, okay? Do you see the difference? If you try to sell a workbook for $300, people are going to call you a crazy psycho, all right? But when you write a workbook and then you create videos around it, and then you create a private Facebook group for your community, suddenly people now pay more. Why? Because they're getting access to you. There's a perceived thing that says don't pay $300 for a CD, right? Why? Because it costs 15 cents to make that CD. And so many times I see people saying, I'm going to create a book and a workbook, and the workbook's like the same price as the book. No, you create a course. And you might say, well, Kary, I don't have a website. I don't have a shopping cart. I don't care. You can do this for free. It's called teachable.com or thinkific.com. And all you need is your iPhone, okay? And all you need is a $15 tripod. So don't overthink this, folks. But do not create just a little workbook, because the workbook doesn't create life change. What creates life change is when you have videos, and then you have a community built around the videos and the course. And then you have an upgrade event that people can come to and now be part of that live experience. This is how it's done in publishing. So many people play a low-income game, and as a result, it's a low-impact game. Now, you're saying, what do I mean? When you are with someone for 2 days at a live event, Tanisha, you're on. There's a ton of people who are on. Oh, somebody says they love the pants. Thank you. They're a little moose, okay? My wife got me these for, I don't know, for Christmas, all right? Look, I'm being real, right? You got to be real. I work in my pajamas all the time with my fuzzy slippers, more information than you want. But listen, let's be real. Why do I love my life now? Because I'm there 24/7 for my wife, 24/7 for my kids. I can pack up and go across the country and run the business there. Folks, the freedom, the finances, and fulfillment. This is why I want you to become a six-figure author, because you will have freedom to go as you please, finances to earn as you wish, and fulfillment to live as you like. You can't beat that, okay? I'm my kids' football coach, right? I go to all the field trips. We are stay-at-home parents, and yet I hustle and work incredibly hard. You guys know it. I mean, these last few days, I've done 10 shows, okay? And how much did I charge you? Nothing, okay? I created an ebook, and how much did I charge you? Nothing. A Facebook group that 3,500 people are now part of, how much did you pay for it? Nothing. The masterclass webinar tomorrow, how much did you pay for it? Nothing. And there's going to be a point where some people are like, great, I got so much, I'm happy. But some of you are going to say, you know what? I should be where Jim is. I should be where Mary is, where Melissa is, where Derek is. I mean, that's me. And I'm going to say, you know what? Great. I'm going to shut everything down then after this little period and work really, really hard and invest in those few authors. Why? Because I go deep with a few. I share tons of free stuff with the masses. And then after that, I go deep with a few people and I help them achieve exactly what their goal is. Okay? Brenda says, I should be where they are. Be on that webinar live, because tomorrow, you can imagine, I'm not going to work with 10,000 people, okay? I just can't. I just can't. So out of 10,000 people who are signed up for the webinar, I'm going to work with just a very small amount. But here's the point. If you're on the webinar live, you get the first opportunity, all right? You get the first opportunity in. We're going to talk about it. It's going to be fantastic. I cannot wait. Anyways, back to the story. You can't buy this anywhere. You can't buy it on Amazon. You can't buy it at Barnes & Noble. I don't want it for sale there. Why? Because if it was for sale at Barnes & Noble, this thing, then they would take a big chunk of the profits. This is where you got to know what to give away for free, and you should give away a bunch for free, okay? But then you also should know what you should charge $15 for, and then what you should charge $300 for, and then go to escapingshawshank.com. I think it's still up. I hope it's still up. But we did an event there, And it was $3,000 a person. And a bunch of you who are on this webinar came to it. And you're probably saying, folks, like, that's nuts. Why would I pay $3,000 to go to prison, to Shawshank Prison? Ask the people who went. I'm going to see if some of the people are here, right? I know a few of them. There's one of them right there. Tanisha skipped going to Hawaii, and instead she came to Shawshank, and here's what happened. She realized that she was living in prison, and she took action steps, and she is a soul on fire today, and her life is radically different. And I don't want to speak for her, but I think that it was worth it. She says I was there, right? You tell me, Tanisha, did life change happen there? And see, so many times people just go to Hawaii and what do they have? Pictures. And then they're the same person. And if they left discouraged, they came back discouraged. And they took a little mental vacation and now they're the same prisoner. Now, I'm not speaking about everybody, trust me. I'm just speaking about 86% of the population, okay? She says escaping Shawshank was worth it, all right? So, folks, any other questions before I sign off tonight? Otherwise, we are going to have a fantastic time tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern. Jump in. Let me go see how many seats we have left. Hang on. I'm coming. I'm going to go to webinar here. All right. We just jumped 400 seats since I refreshed it last time. So all I'm saying is there's not that many seats left, okay? I don't want you to be locked out. Please put the link there, Erica. That would be awesome. And she says I became a soul on fire at that event. So again, I think it's worth it. And why did we charge that much? Because we treated them like rock stars. We had chartered buses. We brought them into the prison. We took care of their meals. We brought them to Sparkspace. Go look at sparkspace.com. I mean, it's a beautiful place. It's like Willy Wonka and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory meets Microsoft. It's a crazy place. My buddy Mark Henson. It's amazing. But that stuff costs money. It wasn't just free. And so we created this amazing event to spike life change in people. And 3 years later, Tanisha's still here, on fire, writing her own book, starting her business. It's fantastic. So folks, I had an absolute blast. If you need to tag somebody for this video or share them, if they need to hear this, let them know. And Linda and Jim and Mary and Melissa and Derek, just 5 of the 6-figure authors that we have, a whole bunch of them. Thanks for joining us these last few days. There's still time to get into the 5-day challenge as well. You can do that tonight. We have all the content there, but that's not going to be around forever. Go be a soul on fire. Remember, St. Irenaeus said that the glory of God is man or woman fully alive. Ferdinand Foch said that the most powerful weapon on earth is the human soul on fire. I look forward to investing my time, my passion into you and seeing your book and your dream come true. And trust me, because again, I get all kinds of haters. It's all good. I love my haters. But I got a few haters that are like, if you're so successful, why are you just not writing books yourself? Guess what? I am. This book came out 8 months ago, okay? I'm working on my next book. So it's not like, ooh, you know, I'm just pouring into other people because I can't make it on my own. I'm doing that. I'm doing this book still. If you want to see how we made 6 figures off this book in 6 weeks, go to elixirprojectexperience.com. It's the free webinar. You can check it out. If you want me to mail you the book for free, the book's free. Just cover shipping and handling. elixir.karyoberbrunner.com. We'll mail it to you free. Test it, read it. There's a ton of stuff in there, including some secret stuff at the end. These are called back ads. This is how the book went from fiction to nonfiction. So it's a fiction book, but there's nonfiction principles and content all around it. So folks, I had an absolute blast. This is the last of our public shows. And then tomorrow it's only for the private people who sign up for the webinar. Go make it happen. You and your message are worth it. You have a story inside you. You need to share it. And unless you share it, it's going to be like Morpheus said, it's going to be that splinter in your mind that's always going to bug you. So just like Stephen King said, you need to get it out. You need to write the story so that the voices in your head shut up. All right, that's a quote by Stephen King. We'll see you guys later. Take care. Bye.